Hello everyone, welcome back to another Planet Finance Journey video where we follow Bill's budget performance for the month of May 2025 and the performance of his first investment. For those who just joined, Bill is our fictitious character aiming to represent a young person staying on top of their budget and investing towards financial freedom. In this video, we'll first dive into his budget tracker to assess his income, expenses, and savings to see how he reached his emergency fund goal successfully. Right after that, we'll jump into Bill's first investment where we'll go through the main features of his portfolio tracker. So we've got Bill's budget tracker here. We've already selected the monthly ranges and monthly period, so currently May 2025. And as you can see in the quick snapshot here, his income in May was $3,560. He spent $1,885, meaning he saved $1,676. That was a 47% savings rate, and he went over budget by 3% or $70. You'll find something new in this month's update, and that is that his account category balances not only show cash, but also equities and crypto. And yes, that means that he officially started investing in the month of May, and we'll dive into those investments very shortly. So the good news is that given these savings of $1,600, if we take a look at his emergency fund, he has officially reached $15,000. And you can see that there are several funds in some investment accounts that were added. If we go to the account category settings, we can see that we added an equities account and 2 crypto accounts. We can see how the multidimensional analysis is actually taking form now. So we have now several months of data, which means that the averages, medians, and modes are starting to show us some really good insights. We can see that in average, the last 5 months, his savings rate has been 36%. His total earnings are expected to be $42,000 on an annual basis. And this is really cool because if we take a look at just interest, we can see that in average, he's been earning around $55 per month. And if we extrapolate that to an annual basis, that means that based on history, we're expecting to earn around $662 in interest. Similarly for expenses, if we filter for housing, we know that his monthly rent is $1,000, and that essentially means he'll spend $12,000 in 1 year if that rent doesn't change. In the single dimension analysis, we can drill down into a few little details. For example, his rent is currently 28% of his income. The rule of thumb was to keep it under 30%, so that's really good. And obviously the income saved for this month was 47%. Keeping it over 20% is the rule of thumb, so really good performance. If we take a look at the trends, specifically the expense trends, we can see that most of them are green. So the way this signal works is that if the actual expense is lower than the historical trend, then it becomes green, otherwise red, and if it's flat, it just stays as black. So for gas bill, it looks like it's $62.15, whereas his average has been lower. So we can actually take a look at it here. You can see that it has been slowly increasing as time progresses, and the reason for this could be that Bill made a change in his habits and started cooking more instead of dining out, and probably has a gas kitchen, so that could be a reason. But overall, really good trends across all the different expenses. And same for income, his interest has been increasing, given that his savings have increased. However, salary has stayed flat completely. Hopefully towards the end of the year, he'll see that salary increasing, and we'll start seeing a few dividends and potential capital gains now that he has started investing. If we take a look at his transactions for the month of May, as usual, he earned his salary and interest. He transferred everything to the emergency fund, his different buckets, and you can see here that he actually did transfer $1,100 and $200 to different investing accounts. We'll take a look precisely what these mean soon. However, really quick here, we can see that throughout the transactions, one of the outliers is the cold card. So he did shop for technology related to the cryptocurrency investment here, and you can see how he has been using it for a particular investment movement. But other than that, that is the performance of May. Really good milestone reached with the $15,000 emergency fund, and given that we set that as a limit, it means that the rest of the savings for the future will go between investments and potentially savings account for short-term purposes. So here we are in Bill's copy of the Portfolio Tracker 3G Lite theme. We wanted to onboard him in the newest Portfolio Tracker 4G, but unfortunately that one has been delayed a little bit. We're expecting that in the next couple of months we'll be able to transition from this one into the 4th generation Portfolio Tracker. However, for now we'll use this one. It provides a lot of insights, has heaps of features, and we'll start with explaining part of the setup process. So nothing much was changed from the template except the platform names that he'll be using. The split tool records were actually removed from the template, so we can start fresh in case there's a split in the future with his investments. And likewise, the portfolio performance was set up. So we removed all the recorded data from the template and we created a trigger function through the app script. And in case you want information on how to do that, there's some instructions here that explain how to set it up right here in Portfolio Performance. So let's start by looking at the transactions history of what happened in the month of May. As you might have seen, Bill transferred cash from his savings account to this platform that we chose called Interactive Brokers. It's a pretty complete platform that many people around the world have access to. So we decided to go with this one and set it up in US dollars. And that's essentially what he did. So he deposited 1,100 US dollars into the platform and essentially bought the VOO ETF that we explained in the previous video using the ETF portfolio tracker. And he bought 2 shares at an average price of $520, which meant he spent $1,041 out of the $1,100 that he deposited. And we can see here on the right hand side that the cash balances remaining are $58.70 for his next investment. Additionally, on the 3rd of May, he deposited another $200 into this platform called Phoenix. Technically, it's a digital wallet in the form of an app, and we assume that he bought Bitcoin using a peer-to-peer platform where he just transfers the money to someone and they transfer the Bitcoin to his Phoenix wallet. So we can see that he bought this amount of Bitcoin for an average price of $97,000, and that is $200. And then on the 14th of May, if you remember in the transactions of the budget tracker, there was a transfer between Phoenix to Cold Card of $200. We were just trying to replicate what was done in reality of transferring the Bitcoin he bought from that online wallet into this cold wallet, which is a little bit more secure and a good place to keep Bitcoin. The reason we did it in the budget tracker is because it's good to understand where the money is allocated into each account. In an upcoming tracker, we'll also create a net worth view where he can see where all his money is allocated at a deposit level, but also in a live level where he'll see that, yeah, he deposited 200, but maybe it's now worth 500. So it's a good way to understand what the net worth is originally and also live. For the portfolio rebalancing feature, we have our 2 assets here and we set a target weight of 25% in Bitcoin and 75% in VOO. It's really cool because based on that target weight, it recommends that our next purchase is Bitcoin and it shows an amount to be able to reach that target of 25-75 split. We can take a look now at his live portfolio. This is one of my favorite tabs in the tracker where we can see a list of the tickers, including cash. We can see the quantities that he owns. This one's at 206,012. The average purchase price, the market price, how much it has changed in the last 24 hours, the cost, the market value, and obviously the unrealized profit or loss. So it looks like in the past month, Bill has earned $72 just in capital gains, which is really cool. And you can see the power of investing. You know, he has $15,000 in an emergency fund and he earns around $50 per month, whereas just investing $1,200 has given him already more than what his bank is paying him in interest. There's no crypto interest at the moment, and I don't think we'll get any because if we're gonna show crypto investing specifically for Bitcoin, it's probably safer to keep it in a cold wallet. Maybe in a different scenario, we'll buy other cryptocurrencies that we can place under staking and earn some crypto interest. And at the moment, we can see that the past month, the top performer overall has been Bitcoin, and well, the worst one has been the S&P 500 as there are only 2 assets. So we can see here in the dashboard that his current portfolio market value is $1,372. He holds 2 assets. So far, he's deposited $1,300 and only done 2 trades. We can see here that this main investment strategy has been only for core. There are other ones like play or YOLO, or you can add whichever strategy you want. We'll probably do that in the upcoming video where we'll create different investing scenarios. But really cool insights here. We can see the return on investment for each asset. We can see how it's distributed around the world. Currently S&P 500 is only United States, and Bitcoin, we put it under United States, but technically is worldwide. And we can see how the money is distributed by asset class. So we have 80% in an ETF, 15% in crypto, and 4.3% in cash. As you can see, the portfolio performance was set up on the 1st of May. So we can see how the balances have increased or decreased up to date. And here at the bottom, we can see the breakdown of platforms with information about the positions, the cash, the holdings, and the number of trades, and the platform weight. And lastly, if we scroll down here, we can see some cryptocurrency insights. So currently just Bitcoin. All his Bitcoin currently sits in cold card. And if we multiply that quantity by the current price, it's $217. And that can be also verified here, $217. So that's a portfolio tracker setup for Bill. Really exciting that we've started this section of the journey, as we'll want to create several more portfolios, like a portfolio of individual stocks instead of ETFs, a portfolio of multiple cryptocurrencies instead of just Bitcoin, and even a portfolio of dividends, either handpicked or also through a dividend ETF. So we'll leave Bill's update for the month of May here. Thank you so much for joining this update for Bill's Planet Finance journey. If you're interested in using the trackers we've shown you here, please follow the link in the description of this video. Stay tuned for the next update, as we'll be assessing Bill's recurring investments and creating several portfolios so we can track multiple investing strategies. Thank you very much.